Everyone wants internet, right? But they don't necessarily understand what their internet is.
This is a time to come together. The folks in this room, they are rolling up their sleeves. They don't want to wait. They want to get the work done. And this is actually an opportunity for them to step up.
It is a rare opportunity to be able to make a difference in a very material way, making people be brave in these moments of uncertainty.
Well, if there's ever a year for the lost and the wandering.
This is the year, right?
This is it. Oh, my kids think I'm such a nerd. Broadband? Who are interested in broadband?
All right, I think we're just going to jump right in. And thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. I want to have you start by telling us a little bit about your program and what that's meant to you.
Wow, that's generous of you. I appreciate the plug up front. So Beyond the Cable is our podcast. It's affiliated with the digital brand of the show. bbcmag.com is our website. That's where you'll find all our episodes. But we interview industry leaders. Sometimes it's short episodes, sometimes longer episodes, and it's kind of like what y'all do. It's natural flow, a little less natural because we're not on video, so we have the chance to edit things out. And but you're going to get, the real perspectives of people that are moving and shaking the industry. So that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. And you've been doing this about a year now, right?
Yeah, I think about 8 months. I've been with Terrapin since we acquired Broadband Community Summit in, I think, October 2023.
Okay.
So the podcast is a newer addition to our media brand, but it's been pretty popular.
It's such a wild ride. We were talking about this before we lit up the cameras, and it's just, you don't know what you don't know until you jump into the pool and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to try and swim.
Well, you just got to keep it moving.
Yeah, just keep moving, just keep swimming, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's a learned skill for sure.
Yeah,
it is, and we're just going to keep learning.
Yeah, I was going to say,
episode.
I'll let you know once I've learned, but I know enough to know that it's a learned skill. Yeah.
So here we are at Broadband Communities 2025 in Houston, Texas. Yes, it's raining outside. Yes, it's like 200% humidity, but it's been a great show.
Yeah.
What are some of your key takeaways so far?
Oh man, what a year for it. It's
the timing.
Yeah, it's the only thing certain is uncertainty. So that's kind of been the theme for this year. And I have some big takeaways that I kind of put in my notes. It's the BEAD progress.
BEAD would be the very
thought
first
that
thing
might come
that I
up.
was thinking.
Right, yeah, this is a minor detail there. But progress or lack of progress, depending on your perspective on it. But right now, state broadband leaders are scurrying to meet this 30-day review period.
There are people who did not come to the show because they needed their numbers pulled together. I mean, it is that of a hot button item right now.
I can confirm that that's the case. We had state broadband leaders that pulled out because it said, we're just so underwater with work right now. We have to get this done. So that's been the big takeaway, and kind of getting people's reactions to what's going on has been interesting too. I've noticed people trying to stay very optimistic, which gives me some hope. But there's also a sense of people rolling up the sleeves and saying, well, I guess we're going to have to kind of do this ourselves.
But this is a get-her-done industry. It really is. And if BEAD continues to hurry up and wait, they're going to figure out different ways to get her done.
Yes. I mean, it's still a loss, right? So that's Internet for All was the goal of BEAD. And, with the revised guidance, it kind of looks like it's not going to be good Internet for all. Maybe still Internet for all, but not as good. So it's, in my view, if we want to talk about it, it's kind of kicking the can down the road to the next generation, and
Probably so.
yeah.
Because I don't think in our lifetime we'll see another funding push like this.
It depends, how much of a hot button issue it becomes, if there's gaps left behind and people notice, but it's kind of an overlooked issue, isn't it? In Washington, you don't hear many people talk about broadband.
Miraculously, that is the case. Yeah.
But it's bipartisan. And so it crosses party lines, and I've heard, a deep commitment to it from red states and blue states. It just needs to be more spoken about, I think. And we have a lot of advocates here that are working very hard to make that the case. So
it's kind of a catch-22 though, right? Because it's bipartisan, it's not going to be as divisive, and it's not going to catch the headlines, and it's not going to create the discussion because it doesn't have that kind of volatility to it. maybe that's in it, part of what's kind of keeping it, on that second tier.
Well, last year at this time, it was apolitical. Now it's a political issue, right?
Yes.
And I think my advice to people, not like I'm, the world's foremost expert on regulatory issues, but has been to pay attention to the larger picture. And you can get lost in the fire hose of information that we're just blasted with on a daily basis in 2025. So focusing on the bigger picture, I think, is important. And I'll just give an example. As soon as Trump got elected, the people know he's friends with Elon, right? And so they're saying, oh, well, low Earth orbit satellite's going to be a big player. I think on the day that the Department of Commerce released that guidance, Trump was in the middle of a big falling out with Elon Musk that was very public. And, it's too late now to change it. The guidance just came out where low Earth orbit satellites playing a bigger role. And people said, well, are they going to change it again? And now they're back together. So it's
a little whiplash. It's like which way do we go?
It is. So not reacting too much in the moment, but to the sentiment, I think, is important. So yeah, and that's what we do. I mean, I do the podcast, but I also cover the industry, in a journalistic light on bbcmag.com. So we will give you the fire hose of information, but we'll also kind of siphon it off.
What I love about your show is that y'all dissect it. You help make it palatable, because it is a lot of information to dissect, and it really is a lot to decide how you can step in and do something about it.
Yeah.
Do I need to talk to my congressperson? Do I need to go to a broadband day at the state capitol? How can I have my voice be heard? And honestly, boots on the ground, everyone wants internet, right? But they don't necessarily understand what their internet is.
Yeah.
Can I connect or not connect? Well, it's more than that. It's the speed. It's how it's delivered to you. It's the choice. Is my only choice AT&T, or is there actually a local provider that will take care of me with better customer service?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And BEAD's here to stay. Mm-hmm. There was fear about that last year.
Just being ripped out completely.
Oh yeah, Congress repealing it or whatever. But I think there are, more. You talk about congressmen and contacting those types of people, and there are issues that you can do that on. Digital Equity Act is one. I kind of substituted for a moderator that wasn't able to make it. Our panel was about the Digital Equity Act, and every time I referred to the cancellation of the Digital Equity Act, I used rabbit quotes because it doesn't seem legal. And folks that understand the issue understand that only Congress can appropriate funding. Only Congress has the ability to repeal a law, and it can't be arbitrarily repealed by someone in the White House just because they don't like it. That's not necessarily how things work. So there's going to be litigation on these issues. That's kind of a certainty. It's just a hurry up and wait.
The hurry up and wait seems to be the phrase of the day.
Yeah. But the folks in this room are trying to fill the gap too. So,
and it's creating unique partnerships between public-private entities. It's people are looking at different ways to fund what they're doing, whether it's co-ops or PE firms or going and taking a loan out from the bank against
the show must
your
go
business.
on.
The show
and I
must
think that
go
we are
on.
seeing that manifest in different ways. And yes, I think with some of these recent announcements that have come out against it, there are people that have said, I'm done waiting. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of resigned to finding out what that means for them. I think it is obviously when that was your plan A, and you've invested the time and set the table, there's a kind of a sunk cost fallacy, and you don't, it's like door number one or door number two. But there comes a point in a business where sometimes you just simply cannot wait any longer. And it's seeing those gaps filled in different ways, and kind of the striation of opportunities, even at a municipal level, there seems to be more activity and more discussion around what can we do now, and what can we do now that's not necessarily going to have to be a puzzle piece that fits perfectly into what we believe BEAD will ultimately end up becoming, because no one knows at this point. This uncertainty is absolutely filling the room.
Yeah, and there's other things going on like the Universal Service Fund.
That was tip of my tongue to ask you about next.
Yeah, and so there's again back to the only certainty is uncertainty, and we might have an answer by the time this comes out. The Supreme Court's issuing more rulings tomorrow. Joseph Wender was just speaking, and he used to lead the Capital Fund. You see, what is it called again?
Oh my gosh.
Capital Projects Fund.
Yes.
CPF. And so Joseph
So many acronyms.
Joseph Wender used to lead that, and he's now with Shelby. So he's very involved, but he was saying, tomorrow the Supreme Court might issue a ruling on that. Shelby was named as a party, and so he was able to sit front row, and he had a good feeling about USF. So that gives me good vibes, but we'll see what they decide.
You definitely want to hear from people who are in the room. That's important.
Yeah, because Supreme Court's not televised, right? So
right, exactly.
You can't just pop it on TV and watch it, but
it's not Judge Ito.
I mean, there's so many people that it's such a big issue, and it's so much hangs on it. So Digital Equity Act, USF, and all these things, this is a time to come together. And the folks in this room, like you said, they are rolling up their sleeves. They don't want to wait. They want to get the work done. And this is actually an opportunity for them to step up and show leadership at a time where it's needed. And that's something that they're going to look back a generation from now and probably say, I did that.
It's true. And I think a lot of people come into this industry or start an ISP because of that it is a rare opportunity to be able to make a difference in a very material way
in your community,
in the way that you can impact and do it. You're making this, you're bringing this into existence. So I think there's always that fire burning inside of people. And I think that is what's making people be brave in these moments of uncertainty.
One of the questions I asked a lot last year to folks was, do you feel like you still have to explain that broadband is a utility, that it's not a luxury?
It's not a luxury.
Well, and but that's what I heard. I heard people saying we feel like that battle's been won
because of the pandemic. I think the pandemic played an important part in reframing people's context for digital equity.
It showed what was possible.
But now the battle's back on. I don't think there's a person in this room that would say the Digital Equity Act is racist, but that's why it was canceled. So that battle is going to have to be fought again. And I think, there's also, yes, there's optimism while we live in a climate that's hard to be optimistic in. And there's also a sigh of, here we go again.
For sure. I mean, after you've celebrated something and then you have to do it again, no matter what that thing is.
Right.
That's an awful feeling. And I think there's just a collective eye roll about okay, I guess we'll just reset and we'll just do that again. But it is worth fighting for. It is a very important thing. And I think that it'll get it where it needs to go.
But maybe there's a takeaway there from the industry that we can do a better job of communicating that and making sure there's not fundamental misunderstandings about what it is.
Leaving room for that sort of interpretation. Yeah, right. Obviously,
I've got a silly question for you. What's your take on the broadband nutrition labels?
Oh, the nutrition labels. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I know G Fiber was a leader in that. I have no problem. What's your take?
No, my take is that nutrition labels as nutrition labels sometimes are not as transparent as you would want them to be, right? A carb is a sugar.
Right.
You list it as a carb, but
right.
It's really a sugar. So the person thinks, oh, I'm eating healthy because it's a low sugar item, but it really is full of sugar. I'm not sure that the end users, the people that they were designed to help make more informed decisions, actually know how to leverage them to make better decisions about what they need.
I mean, that's kind of true. You look at if you don't know what it is.
If you don't know what it is,
you still don't know what it is after looking at it.
You don't know if it's a carb. You don't know what up down speeds actually mean to you as an end user. What good is that information?
What's a millisecond? What's latency?
And maybe that's an example of how we can do better, at communicating what the industry is, what these things are, and why they're important. Because the eyes kind of gloss over when you hear, symmetrical upload download speeds. People don't know what that is.
So they can't relate to it. Is
the terminology is confusing too, and maybe there's also room for improvement there.
Yeah. It's one of those projects that I was like, I get it, but I do think there's a lot of room for improvement for that end user opportunity.
The concept was strong, I think, and also there's details that don't live on the label. You have to disclose kind of a path to get to the dense information, but some of it is just provide the URL.
Right.
Is that's like getting that at a glance transparency that really.
I have to click the URL and it's a 4-page URL of terms and conditions that I'm not going to read anyway.
Yep.
Well, and it's kind of a legacy of the last FCC, right? So, in the back of your mind, you wonder, is it still going to be there this time next year?
It's always the question.
There seems to be a bend towards deregulation of the industry, and regardless of how you feel about that, things are changing and at a rapid pace. So, other takeaways, the state of the multifamily connectivity industry, that's been an interesting topic, and Broadband Community Summit is the convergence of multifamily and connectivity.
Yes.
And we kind of we're not just that. I mean, we have the conferences, events for municipal leaders going on at the same time, but the developments in Proptech have been really interesting where, the savings that are there for operators and owners, the ability to join in revenue sharing, there is kind of a game changer. And
it's kind of a snowflake to the industry, though, because every property wants to do things a little bit differently. Some properties may want to be able to subsidize the lowest plan, but you need the premium plan. So who's going to pay the difference? Well, what happens when you don't pay your plan?
Right.
It's not a cut and dry, black and white situation for service provisioning. You got to be able to figure out how to provide the service in a meaningful way.
But it's been interesting also to see that side of the industry kind of coalesce around a singular message, which is, this is why you want it. It can improve your bottom line. And you think about not so much the big guys, but smaller guys where this is a revenue stream and it's the only revenue stream that they have, and it's keeping their family afloat, and they want to, pass off a building and inheritance and keep it in the family. And how can you make that money work for you?
Increasing the ARPU.
Yeah.
On the building. Absolutely.
So things like water leak sensors or smart thermostats, I mean, those are game changers if you're living on the margins.
Our hotel took all of our temperatures to 75 degrees every day.
Really?
Every day. It reset the AC in the hotel to 75 degrees. And I thought, this is a function of them controlling their costs.
Like you would change it and then it would change back.
During the day when we were out of the rooms, it changed, and it was consistent. Every one of our rooms were reset to 75 degrees so that when we came back in the evenings, you had to reset yours.
I'm curious if there's occupancy sensors or if they just do it at a schedule, but it's the first time I ever experienced that. Yeah.
And we had a long conversation about it last night because I was like, I can totally see this being rolled out in other office buildings and hotels. You typically are not in your hotel room during the day, right? You're at conferences, you're at conventions, so it totally makes sense. But it's a little creepy to me that somebody else can come and change the settings in the space that I'm occupying.
Yeah, you want to, in a hotel, maybe it makes more sense than in an apartment. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing where multifamily connectivity has made leaps and bounds, and it's been impressive to see where it's gone.
And the smart innovations that are going into the entire industry is it's fun to watch.
Retrofits are expensive, but the price is coming down. But to make the argument as to why it's worth it, and that's been cool to see.
Well, there's also advantages. I know some insurance companies on the commercial side will give you rate cuts or one-time kickbacks if you have things like the water sensors and that sort of thing. So I think there's a way to approach it where you build a business case like anything else. But to your point, you're maximizing that investment. Real estate investment is absolutely massive. And there's the short-term things to think about. There's long-term things. And some of them are to your advantage and some of them are to the advantage of your occupants, which means that makes their experience better, or it's they're going to stay longer, they'll get referrals or whatever the case may be. So it's so multidimensional in that way.
It's kind of interesting what your big takeaways have been from Broadband Community Summit.
I love this show because it's a conversational show. It's not wild and scary. It's that you can have good conversations with people, talk about what their pressure points are, connect the dots between partners. I may not be the solution for you, but let me connect. You need a grant writer. There's a grant writer I was just talking to at dinner yesterday. Let's see if they can help you. those types of connections to me are huge in this industry, and you don't always get those just over a Zoom call or a webinar.
Right.
You need to get in the room where it's happening, to quote Hamilton. Be in the room where it's happening, talk to the people, get to know people, and see how you can connect the dots and leverage the mental bandwidth in the room. It's such a great opportunity, and that's what I love about this show.
And that makes us kind of unique in that perspective. I mean, I go to other shows, so how about you?
Yeah, it's a collaborative spirit. It's my first time attending.
Oh, okay.
And that's what hit me over the head. All the conversations I had, both here behind the mic and just walking around talking to people. It's not necessarily that people are looking to solve a problem, but it's a very open atmosphere. There's a lot of collaboration, and I didn't. There's no. I don't know. I didn't overhear any hard sells. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really good vibe, and I'm not sure, again, with it being the first time that I've attended, is it the show? Is it the current climate of the industry that's just kind of putting people in a headspace where it's like we don't need to be creating our own problems, but there's enough going on like that it kind of brings people together. I've been pondering that. Yeah.
Well, if there's ever a year for the lost and the wandering, this is it. And we try to also avoid what you're talking about with the sales pitches. I don't want to mention any other events and put anyone down, but some events you go to, they're overwhelming.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you agree with me. So I'm not alone.
And that's also, from the operator perspective, I for years and years and years, would attend the different shows, and you would pick and choose your favorites. The ones that I gravitated towards were not the ones where I just felt overwhelmed by that. At the end of the day, we all know most of the, the exhibitors and most of the brands anyways. And sometimes you stumble across something new, but you're not coming there to be sold. You might want to talk to someone about something, but
you're coming there to put your heads together to find solutions or hear what other folks are doing, and
that's what gets you on the air.
Well, and when I talk to people about this show, I talk about this show fills my cup. A lot of the shows, we're just on nonstop. This show, I get to actually go attend sessions. I get to talk to people. It gives me an opportunity to kind of catch up.
Yep.
Because otherwise I'm, spinning all the plates, and this show helps me feel like I'm better grounded to the community.
And it is a community. That's
what it is
a go for. I love that you said that, because I come from a small town, and it feels like a small town now here where I know everyone, and it's a nice feeling. It really is.
Well, and y'all got to celebrate some community leaders and do the Broadband Community Awards this year. Tell me a little bit about that.
We did. Do you want to hear some winners?
I do.
All right. So I'm gonna have to read off of my paper.
That's okay, because I think it's just fantastic.
We got 13 of them. So Provider of the Year went to G Fiber. The Community Improvement Award went to Frontier. Customer Experience went to Fort Collins Connection. Digital Divide Award went to CompuDopt. Are you aware about?
Yes, CompuDopt.
They're a great organization, and they're here in Texas. They do God's work.
Yeah.
The Multifamily Partner Award went to Airwave. Property of the Year, which, were you at our keynote this morning?
No.
So we have the Great Communities keynote, which is always on the last day of the conference to start us off, where we focus on a multifamily property that's really kind of taking connectivity to the next level. That was Madeira Trinity, Mill Creek Residential. They're based in the Dallas area.
Yes.
Right by that, I don't know the name of it because I'm not a Dallas guy, but there's an iconic bridge in Dallas, white arches, and it's right next to it. They did a great job with it.
It's over by Clyde Warren Park. Yeah.
Okay, so you're a little more familiar with the area.
I'm pretty sure that's I'm pretty sure that's where it's located.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there did look like there was a park there. So, Wireless Initiative Award went to Easy Street Systems. Workforce Development went to FBA for the work they've done with Proptech, and it's changed so many lives. There were a lot of good entries for that, but Fiber Broadband, they've knocked it out of the park this year on that. We also had our Lifetime Achievement Award that went to Jim Baller, who is, if you've been coming to Broadband Community Summit, you know Jim. He wasn't able to make it this year, but he's a staple here, and he worked for Keller and Heckman, which is a law firm. So people have leaned on Jim for years for his advice, and it's been a big part of our summit. So we were happy to give him that. Rural Connectivity Award went to the Deep East Texas Council of Governments.
Okay.
And they've come together as a kind of coalition of local governments and done great things standing up for communities in East Texas. Startup of the year went to Broadband One. This name, I was told I got it mostly right, so I'm going to say Whippet OS. They won Tech Partner of the Year, and the Tribal Lambs Award went to the Southern Ute Indian Tribe.
Okay.
So that rounds off.
For a lot of it's fantastic to celebrate people's victories out in the field.
Yeah, it really is.
They're doing the boots on the ground.
Well, and this year, so normally we in the past we had internal judging. This year we opened it up and we had an external panel of judges. Sarah Raza, Harvard Policy Center of Law. I know I butchered that. It's a long name. Harvard Law Center. And we had a very impressive panel of judges. Valerie Sargent, she, is our correspondent for the multifamily industry. So that was really cool to see voting and how the chips fell. And not everyone I picked won. So
that it's so great to get those external perspectives, though.
Right.
It really levels the playing field for those providers, those nominees.
But we also, can I make a pitch here?
Absolutely.
So, keeping the awards thing going, we have opened up nominations for our top 100.
Broadband Communities top 100 next on my list.
Okay, all right.
Out of my head.
Yes, thank you. 2025 top 100. Last year we had, it was a different brand. It was Fiber to the Home top 100 at TTH. This year we're just slashing Fiber to the Home and we're opening it up for everyone. So
Fantastic.
of course, if you do Fiber to the Home, you still nominate yourself or nominate someone else. But if you're a solutions provider, a broadband builder, you have some sort of platform that's being used or you make equipment, we would love you to, or a municipality, that's doing something amazing, or a multifamily community that's doing something amazing. This is our chance to recognize 100 entities, organizations that are just knocking it out of the park. And we also have the World Communications Awards, which are global, and those nominations are open until July 11. The World Communications Award is in London every year. So encourage you to nominate yourself for that if you're watching.
Absolutely. Get your nominations in and connect with the website. Definitely subscribe to both the podcasts so that you can stay up to date on all the news that we're getting out in the world. Rick, any final thoughts?
I just really appreciate you coming by and spending some time, and I had a great time at the show.
I had fun doing it. This was awesome. And I love the podcast. I have to say, I watched the first episode and it was so cool. I love the dynamic and the way you guys bounce off each other. Awesome.
We talked about the first one being our pancake episode.
Oh, it was so good.
So
it was gold.
We're hoping we can only get better from there.
It was organic, and it's nice to see like real people. That's not scripted. And I know we have scripts that we follow, but
right.
It seemed
we have
comfortable to watch.
I could talk to Rick all day every day.
Oftentimes we do.
And oftentimes we do,
Yeah.
back to back meetings. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's been a really fun endeavor for us. And just to be able to talk to people like yourself that are out there in the communities making a difference. Thanks so much, Brad. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me on.